I'm Nathan with Blue Oak. I'm going to attempt to demonstrate a back cut first felling technique. This is an advanced technique. The time to use this technique is when you have a tree that's slightly back leaning from the direction that you wish to fell it, and the diameter is not quite big enough for you to get your saw in with your back cut. And to have space to put a wedge in that back cut before the tree starts to sit back on you. So this tree is like just small enough that I think that this technique is justifiable. It looks like the top is curving back towards the house. We want to make it go down in the gully. So I'm gonna cut my back cut first, then I'm gonna place my wedge in, and then I finish with my face cut. And so this is what makes it kind of hard, is you finish with your face cut and you have to keep everything on line to set that hinge and that apex correctly for the felling process to be finalized and successful. All right, so now we pray that I don't hit the client's house. Something right behind me. Now this is like really important when you're doing back cut first, that you use your felling sight. And you want to pick something out there that you can aim at that's noticeable, because you need to aim at that exact same thing when it comes time to cut your notch. And that's what'll make sure that you line your cuts up correctly. If you don't aim at something and then aim at that exact same thing when you do your notch, then your cuts are going to be off. So that's really important. So this is where, Ryan, if you could toss me a wedge. If I had already cut my face cut and I'm going to my hinge, then if this tree was weighted back the way I'm thinking it sort of is, it would start to pinch me right now. But because I haven't cut my face cut out yet, there's enough wood intact that I have plenty of space to drive this wedge in. Okay, so I'm just gonna get that wedge started. You see, this is like borderline large enough diameter that I could have done a traditional face cut and then a traditional back cut and had enough space to get my wedge in, but I'm worried that there's just not enough diameter for this tree to support the space of the wedge not hitting my chainsaw bar. So that's why I'm doing back cut first. You want to set that wedge in past the sapwood so that it doesn't get pinched out. I'm sorry, not past sapwood, past the bark layer. Make sure that you're in real wood so that you don't get pinched out. So that is the last thing you want while you're finishing this up. All right, now if I misread this, then it'll pinch me while I'm doing my face cut. The tree will start to go while I'm doing my face cut if I misread this. But you can see I went to about where I want to leave the back of my hinge. And now I'm gonna come in at like a nice open angle and try to land perfectly at the bottom, set my apex right there and leave a suitable hinge. And that's where aiming at that thing out there that I used to reference is gonna be really important. proper thickness. The wedge is supporting the tree. Now you just wedge it over. So you can see that there just wasn't enough space to have the bar and the wedge with a traditional back cut. Like if I had cut that face cut and then I started coming in, then right about here the tree could have started setting back, and I really just don't have enough wedge space. I mean, I'm so close to that chainsaw bar. I'm just gonna mess this wedge up and I'm gonna dull my chain. So that's when to use back cut first. But again, this is a very advanced technique. Do it on trees that are smaller, easy to push over if you need to, you know. Do it, learn the technique on easier stuff with not as much consequence in the event of failure before you try it on bigger stuff with a house behind you. Okay.